What if the most powerful force in our lives, the one we barely ever think about, is the secret reason we're all so tired? That's the surprising connection we're digging into in this explainer: gravity and exhaustion.
You know that feeling, right? You get your solid 8 hours, you hit the sack on time, but you still wake up with these weird aches and stiffness, feeling like you barely slept at all. It's super frustrating and honestly, way too common. Usually, we blame things like our diet, stress, or maybe too much screen time for a bad night's sleep. But what if the real culprit is gravity itself? Yeah, that's the wild idea we're going to unpack right now.
Okay, so the core idea here is pretty fascinating. Humans have basically mastered our relationship with gravity while we're awake and walking around. But the source material we're looking at argues that this adaptation is incomplete. It's left us totally exposed the minute we lie down to sleep.
Just look at this contrast. It's pretty stark when you think about it. The soles of our feet, they are absolute masterpieces of evolutionary engineering, built to take our entire body weight, day in and day out. But when we go to sleep, all that pressure shifts to places like our shoulders and our hips, which, well, they just aren't designed for that kind of constant load.
So, how exactly does this weak spot turn into a terrible night's sleep? Well, the source material calls it a cascade of biomechanical failure, basically a chain reaction that happens every single night. Let's break down how it works.
It all starts with a flat mattress, which can't really support our body's natural curves. So what happens? Once we're unconscious, our body just kind of collapses. Our skeleton gets misaligned, and all our body weight gets focused on these tiny, vulnerable spots. And here's the kicker. All of those pressure signals become constant distractions for our nervous system, pulling it away from its real job, repairing our body while we sleep.
And this brings us to this key idea they call neuronal distractions. Think of your nervous system as a super diligent night shift worker. Its job is to handle vital tasks like locking in memories and repairing cells. But instead, it's constantly getting interrupted by these emergency calls from your crushed hip or your twisted spine. The result? A pretty lousy night's work, and you feel it the next day. And this isn't just about feeling a bit groggy in the morning. No, this nightly fight with gravity has a huge cost, not just for us as individuals, but actually for society as a whole. And get this, here's a truly wild number from the research. It suggests that on average, we're only experiencing about 20% of our potential sleep quality. Just let that sink in. We could be missing out on 80% of sleep's restorative power every single night. This quote from the author, Dr. Nix, really just nails the whole problem. Gravity, the force that keeps us on the planet, becomes our enemy the second we lie down on a flat surface, kicking off this whole domino effect of problem. And what a domino effect it is. We're talking about things like cognitive decline. That means worse memory and focus. It's linked to increased mental health issues like anxiety and depression. And it can even lead to a higher risk of major physical illnesses, not to mention the huge economic costs from lost productivity. You can see how this all adds up. The stakes are just incredibly high. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. Our evolution just hasn't caught up. So what's the solution? The source material presents us with a choice, a fork in the road between two very different ways forward. On the one hand, there's the evolutionary path. We could just wait for thousands, maybe millions of years for our bodies to adapt and grow protective tissues on our hips and shoulders, kind of like the soles of our feet. Or we could take the technological path and use our brains to engineer a solution right now. Not surprisingly, the argument lands hard on that second option. It proposes a whole new category of technology that's designed to solve this nightly gravity problem once and for all. And that solution has a name: bionic sleep systems. The whole idea is to create a surface that intelligently supports every curve of your body, distributing pressure evenly instead of letting it build up on those vulnerable spots. Basically, it's about actively fighting back against the harmful effects of gravity. Now, the claim here is incredibly bold, that this technology can neutralize a staggering 99% of gravity's harmful pressure on your body. And the source says that number is scientifically verifiable. That doesn't just promise better sleep, that promises a complete revolution in how we rest. And the promised benefits? They're just as big. We're not just talking about waking up feeling refreshed. The sources suggest this could lead to better thinking, more creativity, a lower risk of chronic diseases, and maybe, just maybe unlocking a higher level of human potential. This last quote really ties it all together. Why wait for biology to slowly catch up when we have the ability to create a perfect resting environment with technology today? It's really a call to action to solve an ancient evolutionary problem with some modern ingenuity. So this all leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought. Could it be that the next great leap forward for humanity won't be some genetic mutation, but an upgrade to the beds we use for a third of our lives? It's a fascinating question about where our evolution might be headed next.